I got handed this flyer, Choose Love, Hate Racism. And as a professor in genocide studies, it got me thinking about racism. So when I was about 7 years old, our house was repossessed, unfortunately. I remember first they came for the TV, which was bad enough, and then they came for the house. Fortunately, my mother's sister, my auntie, God bless her, she took us in and we went to live with our cousins who had a different skin tone to us, heaven forbid, because their father is from Pakistan. This is when I first learned about racism. My 15-year-old cousin comes home, blood everywhere. He's been badly beaten up by a gang of lads, simply because he has a different skin tone. The fact that there's a march planned then for the 28th of this month highlights that these views are becoming more prevalent in society again, with the far right rising in Germany, France and England, etc. Meanwhile, we've got the US Secretary of State Rubio in Munich yesterday saying European states have made a fundamental mistake in allowing migration since World War II. But let's just pause to consider the logics that we saw before the wars, which led to things like the Holocaust. Let me take you back to Germany. 1907 to 1910, the first German Jewish Secretary of State, Bernhard Dernberg, actually opposes genocide policies that Germany's carry out in Africa, but goes on to say the following. It cannot be doubted that some Aboriginal tribes, like some animals, will have to disappear in the civilizational process if they are not to degenerate and become wards of the state. We are fortunate in our German colonies that we are not too heavily burdened by such elements, but the history of the colonization of the United States, surely the greatest colonial project that the world has ever seen, had as its first act the virtually complete extermination of the Aborigines. Let's be clear on this. He was seen to be an enlightened liberal thinker, but beneath this we see this logic of scientific racism in that some people genuinely believe that whites belong at the apex of the pyramid, and that's the natural order of things. The alarming thing then with the rise of the far right throughout Europe is that the leaders wear a suit and a smile, but beneath this they're normalizing these logics. And I'm not saying you're going to see people rounded up and put in extermination camps anytime soon, but when you normalize racism, this is precisely why a 15-year-old boy gets perceived to be a legitimate target of violence simply because he has a different skin tone. And remember, when you're talking about race, you're not talking about wealth inequality. Funny that, isn't it?